Hello everyone and welcome to Kayla's Kitchen. Today is day 2 of Tea Together Tuesday. If you haven't seen my video from last week, you can click the link in the description box below and that will have my video from Tea Together Tuesday day 1. But for today, we are looking at an all-new prompt. Once again, a huge thank you to Jan and Kimberly from Tea with Jan and Tea as a Wish blog for putting together this amazing collaboration. If you want to know more about what Tea Together Tuesday is, you can click the link in the description box below where I'll post links to their content and you can see more about what they have put together. So for today, the prompt is, what is your favorite tea company and what was the first tea you had from them? I'm not gonna lie, this was another tough one. Trying to think of my favorite tea company was just, it was difficult. So in my mind, there were a couple of different trains of thought that you could go with. You could go with a company that you've loved for a long time and just consistently really enjoyed. You could go with a company that produced your all-time favorite tea. You could go with the first tea company that you were introduced to. You could go with the first tea company that you've interacted with. There's so many trains of thought of how you can come to what your favorite is. And I'm not gonna lie, I picked 3, and the reason I'll explain why. Let's just get started. All right, company number 1. So the first company that I chose as my favorite tea company is TSTT. And the first tea that I tried from them is their Fruity Pebbles Slenderizer tea. So if you're not familiar with TSTT, they sort of have like 5 categories of tea that do all sorts of different things for you. Their Slenderizer teas tend to be green teas or things that are good for your stomach or digestion or losing weight or whatever. They're very focused on like the benefits of tea and making teas that both taste good and are good for you. This tea, first of all, is delicious. It's a strawberry pineapple green tea. It's fruity, it's light, it's not an overly vegetal green tea. It's very good. It's fantastic. Iced, it's fantastic. Hot, it's just an overall very good tea. And it is the first green tea that I ever liked. So why is TSTT one of my favorite companies? TSTT was the first company that ever reached out to me to, I was a brand ambassador for them. And I'm sad because their brand ambassador program has changed. And so it's not quite the same as what it used to be, but when I was a brand ambassador for them, I was monthly sent samples of different teas and the new teas that they're releasing so I could try them and post about it on Instagram and whatnot. And I really loved being a brand ambassador for TSTT. I think that the company is great. They do a lot of fair trade stuff. And they're very focused on giving back to their farmers and their company and everything, like the people who actually grow the tea that they use, as well as giving back to their community. They're based in Chicago, I think, and they do a lot of fundraising and charities and work like that in Chicago, just to give back to everything. And I've always loved that about TSTT. So that is why I chose TSTT as one of my favorite companies. Now let's talk about company number 2. So company number 2 is Simpson Vale, and I chose their carrot cake cupcake tea. I have a review of this, and I have a review of TSTT too. This is a very good tea. I've always really enjoyed it. This was the first rooibos that I ever enjoyed, and I'm pretty sure that's because this is a green rooibos base. I think it's red rooibos that I don't like, but anyway. Once again, this was a tea that was sort of, it was sort of instrumental in getting me into tea. I first tried this at a tea house. They served this tea, and I was like, ooh, carrot cake cupcake tea, that sounds really good. And I tried it and I loved it. And it was one of the first teas that I was like, ooh, I really like that. This tea is delicious. It smells amazing. I love it. So why is Simpson Vale one of my favorite companies? I've actually been to the Simpson Vale location. Now, originally Simpson Vale was sort of one of those where it was like, ooh, I really like that one tea, and that was this one. And I hadn't really tried much of their other teas. I didn't really know a lot about them. But when I went to their location, I was like, oh! They have a ton of different kinds of tea, and we actually got to meet the owners, and they were so nice. They were so sweet and welcoming, and like, so I bought a teacup from them, and they were like, oh, they asked us where we were from, and we said that we were from Washington. They're like, oh, so you're gonna have to bring this on a plane. And so like they packaged it up really nicely for me, and they were just so sweet and welcoming and so kind. Also, I've tried a lot more of their teas now, and I really enjoy their teas. That is why Simpson Vale is my second choice for my favorite tea company. So now we are on to company number 3, and that is going to be Harney Sons. And the first tea that I ever tried from Harney Sons is their pumpkin spice tea. So this is a red rooibos tea, so it's actually surprising that I like this tea, because I am not a fan of red rooibos. However, this tea is delicious. So this was actually quite possibly the very first tea that the very first tea that I had and was like, oh, I really like that. Quite possibly. I can't necessarily say for certain because I wasn't documenting this, but this is a tea that I liked before I liked tea. So Harney Sons, once again, is one of my favorite companies because I have actually visited their location. I've been to their Millerton location in New York, and we went to their restaurant, and we actually got a tour of the Harney Sons factory, which was it was really fun. Let me just say that. If you get a chance, you should totally go to Millerton, New York and tour their factory. They were super nice. It was like a private tour, right? No one else was with us. It was just someone taking us around the factory. I think that Harney Sons is doing some really great stuff in terms of being a tea company that is staying true to tea. And what I mean by that is that they really, like Harney Sons, yeah, they sell some teaware and yeah, they sell some other stuff, but they're about tea, and they know that they're about tea, and they sell a lot of tea. Their blends, I would say, they're almost always fantastic. You can tell that every single person who works at Harney Sons loves tea. They are, right, they have a very elegant culture about them, and you can just tell that the people in this company care about tea, and they care about the plants, and they care about producing a good product that they think is going to be enjoyable. And that's something that I really appreciate about Harney Sons. So those are my top 3 favorite tea companies. I can't choose. I can't say, yes, this one is my favorite and these 2 are like the next ones or whatever, but these are all just in no particular order. I just love these companies. I love what they do. I love the teas that they make, and they've all, in a way, been one of those companies that have really just made me love tea. These are the companies that sort of started me on my tea journey or opened me up to new worlds of tea, and I just love them so much, and they'll always have a special place in my heart, and that's why I couldn't choose. I couldn't choose one. That is my answer, but I kind of fudged it a little bit. Answer to the number 2 prompt for Tea Together Tuesday. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite tea company is, or maybe your top 3 companies if you're like me, you can't choose. You can do top 5, top 10, whatever you want, it doesn't matter. But let me know in the comments below what your favorite tea company is and what was the first tea that you ever tried from them. That is all for this episode of Kayla's Kitchen. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you again to Tea with Jan and Tea as a Wish blog for putting together this awesome collab. Thank you so much for watching, and happy sipping.